Hi, Billy the Artist here. We have done Joy from Inside Out, and today we are going to do anger. And we don't want to get angry with drawing, we want to have joy while we're drawing. So do like and subscribe for all of the others, because I'm also going to do fear and disgust and sadness. So I'm just doing these main characters just to encourage you to draw. But here is one of my other drawings. This is James Allison. There'll be a full time lapse of this online very, very soon. But all the techniques I use in my drawing, how to draw videos, I use in these kind of pencil drawings. I also do oil painting, so if you like and subscribe, you'll be kept up to date with my new how to draw vids and all of my main art stuff, which is like this. But the reason we're doing anger today, and here's the piece of paper, is you can see here quite faintly, this is when I started this drawing. You can see how to the edge of the paper where the wheel is, people think, oh, I never make mistakes as an artist, but I did. I just got on with this drawing, and you can see how far out it was. And if I'd have carried on, it would have meant that his crash helmet would have been off the page, and I'd have lost a lot of time. So I spent maybe about an hour getting this going, getting this drawing started and sorted, and it was wrong. So I could have got angry, but I don't. So on the back of this, I am now going to draw anger. And I'm going to have joy in doing my drawing instead, rather than anger. And again, we're going to use nice and shapes. It's going to be very, very quick and very simple. I've got my trusty 2B pencil, and we are going to crack in. And this is an A4 piece of paper. Anyone in the US, you have US letter. I don't think you have A4. This is a kind of European metric, not imperial size paper. But I'm from good old Blighty in little old England, and I drink tea as well. Anyway, we need to put a line in at the top just to get the spacing down for where Mr. Anger is. Let's draw a line down the centre, and his feet are going to come here. He is very, very nice, simple shapes. My How to Draw Anything Part 1 and Part 2. Part 1 is about the shapes, is in the description below and in the cards on the links above. So do check those out for the absolute basics. But this is for beginners. Now he is quite a funky little stocky character, isn't he, Anger? And he does blow off quite a lot, and he gets the flames coming out the top of his hair. So here, if we just draw a huge rectangle, and we've got the centre line down the middle, and there's another centre line for the centre of the paper, and we know his arms are going to come up to the top. So we just put some little simple marks down, and it's kind of based on thirds. So if we know his belt line is going to come there, and the top of his shoulders are there. So we've got one big box on the outside, and then we can divide that into thirds, into half for where his legs are, and then his tie is obviously going to come down here. So if we use this tie, obviously is in the centre point, we can then start building the shapes up. So we can put his head in, and his mouth is level with his shoulders on his shoulder point, and that's, he's obviously got the downturn because he's not a happy camper and he's about to go nuts. And you could even draw another box in for his mouth there, and I'm just drawing the line over the top for the top of his lip, at the top of his mouth, where his anger goes. I mean, he's not got a nose. Perhaps that's why he's angry, I'm not sure. And then you've got his bottom lip kind of coming round. His teeth, again, right down the centre. So if we put, and he's got one tooth coming over, so his teeth, you've got the shadow cast in the inside of his lip. There's that one going off, and then he's got another little line that are coming down. So you use the shapes and the spacing of the construction lines to help you put in the details afterwards. But the big basic shapes, putting that box in, and then three rectangle, that large rectangle, the tall rectangle, and then three inside, is giving me the points, the reference points where I can just add the details. And so there's his other tooth, and there's the centre of his bottom tooth. And he's got the kind of lip. Like I say, that shadow will come down. His eyebrow is going to come, he's got these really thick, solid eyebrows. So here we've got a triangle coming down from the top, and then it just kind of curves off, and he's got that nice square ridge. So if we curve that down, and then his eye, he's got this really nice egg shape there, and obviously there's another egg shape there, but most of it is covered by his eyebrow. And angry eyes are halfway above that tooth is where that one comes in, and the same for that. Always where the eyebrows are pointing down and the eye's going to be underneath. That's what'll make him look really angry and just accentuate his anger. So here, over that tooth, we've got half of a circle, and then again half of the circle. And he really is in shadow on this side, so I won't, like I did with Joy, put a highlight on this side. But he is angry, and you can have a shadow coming down here, but we'll deal with that very quickly in a moment. Now again, they're all pixelated and bobbly on the edges, these little characters are, but I'm doing these dark lines so that you can see them. If you're using pencil crayons, pastels, or other felt tips or anything like that, you can do the bobbly edges to these characters to make them look really nice. So again, darken the egg of his eye, that edge. So if we now put his other eye in, indicate where the highlight is going to be, and anger, his eyes are all in very quickly. He's got a dark edge to his eye, and then a deep and darker mid-tone for his iris as opposed to his pupil. So there you've got his eyes already starting to leap off the paper. So we've got his chin down here and the edge of his shirt. Again, you've got that curve coming down through his shirt. And it's just like a big triangle, but it's just got a slight curve in it going up. And the collar of his shirt stands out. His tie, so if you put the other collar in to come down. Again, if you can, turn your paper around and make the curve, or, like I say, with practice, use your arm free. Don't pin your arm down, otherwise you'll struggle getting that kind of curve in. Let your hand and your arm actually create the curve. Coming down, so there's another triangle. And we've got coming down to his belt. So here now you can see another triangle for the shape. Bit of a little stocky muscly dude, isn't he? Then you want a little rectangle for his belt. But we can now put the shape of his tie in. It's a little kind of square, but then bring the edges in. So if you've got a little square there for his top knot on his tie, but then don't go to the edge and connect them up. That's how you make the shape. Now, his tie, you could draw a line down to connect if you wanted, and then draw a cross, and then you can join your points up and get your eraser and whack out your construction lines from the centre of the actual drawing. And then you've got his little zigzag pattern. And all that is just little triangles, little points like little shark's fins going in. Again, you can then colour those in either with pencil as I'm doing, or with your crayons or your felt tips, as much as you need. But just by breaking it down into shapes, like say just using those triangles, you're able to create the pattern very, very simply just by breaking that down. Create it in a way by using the shapes as I show you in How to Draw Anything Part 1 and Part 2. And it allows you a lot more creativity. That needs to just go up a little bit, his belt does. And freedom to do your drawing by putting down construction points. Just put the top of his head in. You just need the top of a head really, it does help. and they work as a guide, and then you can just build up your drawing very, very quickly. So again, his arm here, just simple construction lines. And you can see there's a little triangle, and his hand is just a big box, and his thumb is just a rectangle shape. And then his knuckles coming round. So here, if we draw his belt, he's got 2 loops for his belt on this side, 1 on this side, which is just a little rectangle, 1 there, and then you can draw the lines of the belt in just inside the loops, because they're obviously going to be inside and underneath the fabric. There's a little belt hole, and then that goes up through that loop, and then you can just see through the edge. Again, his feet coming down, but the turn-ups on his trousers make a huge amount of shadow, so there's no gap or break to the heels, and then the front of his shoes are just pointing out underneath his turn-ups. So again, his turn-ups are just a long rectangle, and then you can just put a slight curve in because it's fabric going over his shoes into the distance, and we can bring that down for the edge of his leg, and then bring this little foot out, little curve, and there we have Angie coming together quite quickly. Hope he doesn't mind me drawing his portrait. But there, if we come across to kind of match where his other hand is, his thumb's next to. In fact, they are. It's a little bit lower. They're not completely level, so you've got a little bit of angle coming across. So his thumb is level with the belt loop on his trousers, and then his hand comes down. So here, that line was just way too dark. I can get rid of them. And then his thumb will come back, and you've got, that's like a letter Y on its side. So from his thumb and the crease in his actual skin, you've got a little simple letter Y. And his arm will go up there. Got the top of his first finger, and then the second one just comes underneath. So there we have Angie drawn very, very quickly, just using that rectangle divided into 3. So now, because I did Joy earlier, this has already got some pencil on. The actual pencil lines, oh, I've just noticed his tie is hanging all on its own in mid-air, like a clip-on one. So you just need those couple of little lines there. But the pencil you've actually put down will allow you to put the tone on, especially the lighter tone for his shirt. Again, if you do it from inside, where the shadow is underneath that collar, and obviously the shadow's on this side, and then just press on, and then press on lighter for the lighter areas, and then get your putty rubber, your putty eraser, or even just a sharp edged one. You can pull out the highlights on the top of his collar quite nice and easily. These will stand out more when you get the tones in on his skin, on his red skin. And his trousers are obviously a lot darker. That's got a highlight going down on there, just a little one. So again, let me just sharpen my 2B pencil because I need to use the edge now. Before we get to that, let's just put his eye in. Now again, I'll use this to put the dark shadow, giving the shape on his eyes and now his teeth. Again, the dark shadow is going to be in the corners, and you can build that up more. But he just needs a little bit on the where his teeth kind of curve under. And then you can use your putty rubber to really pick the highlights up on his teeth. Just pick up on the edges. And that'll make them stand out and give them that three-dimensional quality. So now, with the edge of your pencil, just whack in a mid-tone for his red skin. Yeah, I'm just doing this quickly, and there is an absolute joy in drawing quickly. Like my motorcycle pencil drawings, they take a long time, days and days of work to actually get all of that detail in. But doing these fast drawings, it's just good fun and it's great practice. Again, I'm looking now and he's got a shadow down this side a little bit more. And the direction of the light is coming and the curve of his head is making, there's a bit of a shadow there. And under his eye socket here. And then under his chin, down the side of this mouth. And you can just build that up using the side of the pencil. And then you can really accentuate the dark under his eyes. And that'll make him look even more angry. And that's how they make the characters represent the emotions. They use the colours, so red here obviously for Mr. Anger, and joy is all bright and light, and so obviously the other colours of the other characters when we get to them. Disgust is green, it's like sick, and sadness is blue if you got the blues. So the colours and the way that they're actually lit and rendered and drawn represents their kind of personal character. So now his trousers are a bit darker, so you can press on that a little bit darker with your pencil to fill it in quicker. And you can see how the side of the edge of the pencil is filling the space in very quickly. Now again, he's got shadow off the tie, so that goes up onto his shirt, down the side of his arm, down the side of his legs. Got a bit of a crease in from where he obviously irons his trousers quite nicely, probably with a very hot, fiery iron. And his shoes are darker still, but then the shadow down in between his legs is where it's at its darkest point. We need to make the edge of his head nicer. Now you can smooth this out and just using either your finger or a bit of tissue. You can smooth the tones out and you can see how quickly that really pushes all the tones together. Again, I'm just going to whack a mid-tone on for his tie. Get that shadow going a bit better. Now if we pick up the shadows underneath, the darker shadows and his tie, those little triangles will need darkening in. And your putty rubber, or if you use coloured crayons, you can obviously put the extra lines on, will make his tie really pling out in a second. So again, just doing the kind of V's and following the pattern of his tie, you'll make his tie stand out. But the light's coming from this direction as well. So if you run a couple of lines up there, and you can see, just again, adding a bit of dark underneath on that side. That makes his tie stand out. Again, on his trousers, top of and the edges of everything have a little highlight on. That'll make it stand out. Shadow just underneath the belt. Then we need to pick his hand up. Again, on this side there's light coming down, and we can pick his eyebrow up. And it just gives Anger a bit more of a 3D feel. Get the top of his lip and the side of his cheek. Again, the top of that lip coming down. There, Anger's really starting to pick out, but we need to really make it stand out now by accentuating his mouth. Getting the dark coming right down into the corners of his mouth where his teeth are. That's where the shadow is darkest. And then the front teeth, really pick those out with your eraser. And there, Anger's looking really groovy. Now let's just darken down the sides where his shadow is here and his feet. The shadow obviously coming down on his leg on this side, off his tie. Here we see just building up the tone, going in different directions, left and right and up and down. You can use cross hatching to actually build up and make the trousers a little bit darker. His trousers do have a kind of herringbone patterning. If you're really looking at the drawing and you want to spend a long time drawing Mr. Anger. And so you could do that with your pencil crayons or your felt tips. You could actually put the patterning on his trousers, just as I'm doing here, just indicating the kind of zigzag patterns very, very quickly. Need to really darken down the shadow there, get the belt a bit darker. But for a quick drawing, there we have Mr. Anger. Let's get his chin a bit darker from inside out. Again, please do like and subscribe to my videos. The links for How to Draw Anything Part 1 and Part 2 are in the cards and in the description in the YouTube, on the actual YouTube video channel as well, which cover how I used those boxes to create this shape very, very quickly to draw Anger off the start. But again, please do like and subscribe for the rest of the How to Draw videos of the Inside Out characters and any of my future art that I'll produce in time to come. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you've had fun drawing, and don't get angry. Don't think you make mistakes, and don't get angry at making mistakes as I showed you at the beginning. Just enjoy your drawing instead and learn to draw your characters and have fun doing it. Anyway, thanks very much. Ta-da.